a new cooling system. The repair could extend its life beyond what was originally planned. Sounds easy enough, right? In fact, due to the instrument's complexity and the fact that it was not designed to be repaired, even gaining access to the system to replace it was difficult. AMS's design did not incorporate the kinds of interfaces that make spacewalks easier, or have the ability
Good morning,
to be
good evening,
serviced
good
with
afternoon.
traditional
We are
multipurpose
back
tools. And
for
so, over the
hatch
course of 4
opening
years,
and ingress
NASA got
of
to
the
work
crew.
designing and developing some of the most complex
So that will be
spacewalks since
happening
the Hubble
shortly.
servicing missions in the 90s
Unfortunately,
and
and I
early
felt like this was the
2000s
best way to
fix
do it.
AMS.
The AMS
must
tools
go
themselves
pick up
were
my
unique. They
little
were built
guys
specifically
from
for this task, a
Science
task
Club.
that was never intended to be performed on a
So
spacewalk.
I am going
so
to
that
run
required a lot of
We're
thinking
like
about
5
how we
minutes
were
away
going to
from it.
get
So
inside
I'll
so that
be
we could
back.
access the tubes
Should
that we needed
be
to cut
10,
into,
15 minutes.
and then install the new
I
thermal
should be back
control
before they
system,
start
but also
the
how to put handling
ingress
aids
and
on it so that
before
we had a
NASA
place
switches
to
over officially.
our
This is the
sensors, to
channel.
attach our
This is
foot
where they're going
restraints,
to be.
to have handholds, have a place to attach
So
equipment
they're
that we
actually
need.
doing here.
NASA developed 20
They're
specialized tools.
actually doing something really cool right now. So if you're interested, you can sit and watch this. But I will be back in just a few minutes. So, Brian, I assume you're still at work, but I sent you an invite if you wanna hang out, but you certainly don't have to.
A handhold to install on the debris shield to work from, but also a handle for me to hold on to ultimately when we jettisoned it overboard to the aft side of the ISS, which was a lot of fun to do.
The astronauts continued with 3 more spacewalks over the next 2 months, using all of the specially designed tools. One such tool was the tube cutting guide, which was a direct result of multiple practice sessions at Johnson Space Center facilities like the Neutral Buoyancy Lab. While practicing, astronauts communicated the need for a way to identify and verify the correct tubes to cut, since they all look the same to the astronauts' eyes within the spacesuit.
After we had removed the debris shield and the VSB cover, now we have the tubes exposed, and we actually had to cut into those tubes in order to pull out the correct ones to connect with the new thermal control system, the new pump. In order to do that, we had to be very sure of the tubes that we were cutting. These ingenious tube cutting guides installed over the top of the tubes and made sure that we knew and we were communicating correctly with the ground team to make sure that we were cutting the correct tube at the right time.
In January 2020, Luca Parmitano and Drew Morgan completed the 4th and final spacewalk to repair AMS. Because of their work and the ingenuity of tool designers and engineers, the instrument is now back in commission and able to continue to collect data about the origins of our universe for years to come.
People from Goddard and JC spent a lot of time developing these tools with their knowledge and the support of astronauts like Chris Cassidy. And we are very thankful that we were privileged to use those tools and to put them to very successful use. Thank you very much.
Orion is getting ready to launch. My name is Kelly Smith, and I work on navigation and guidance for Orion. Orion is NASA's next-generation spacecraft. Built with versatility in mind, it can take astronauts deeper into space than we've ever gone before, to an asteroid or even onto Mars. For these missions, Orion has to be one tough spacecraft, withstanding high speeds, searing temperatures, and extreme radiation. Before we can send astronauts into space on Orion, we have to test all of its systems. And there's only one way to know if we got it right: fly it in space. For Orion's first flight, no astronauts will be aboard. The spacecraft is loaded with sensors to record and measure all aspects of the flight in every detail. It all begins with launch aboard a Delta IV Heavy rocket.
Right, you have the invite.
As it punches
It's all
into
yours.
Earth
I'll be right
orbit,
back.
Okay.
Orion
All right.
will listen its launch abort system. The abort system is a safety feature designed to pull Orion and its crew out of danger if there were a problem with the rocket during ascent. Orion's journey is just beginning. As the spacecraft and the upper stage begin their first lap around Earth, Mission Control in Houston is monitoring the progress of the flight. Orion's over 100 miles up and going about 17,000 miles per hour. Just as it passes over the Indian Ocean, we lose communication. This is expected. The communications link we have through satellites to Orion is momentarily lost, but Orion continues to receive and process data. Its computers can handle 480 million instructions per second. Imagine you are traveling with Orion as the flight test continues. One orbit completed. Time to go. The upper stage of the rocket fires again. Like the setup for a roller coaster ride, this is the big climb we've been waiting for. We are headed 3,600 miles above Earth, 15 times higher from the planet than the International Space Station. As we get further away from Earth, we'll pass through the Van Allen belts, an area of dangerous radiation. Radiation like this can harm the guidance systems, onboard computers, or other electronics on Orion. Naturally, we have to pass through this danger zone twice, once up and once back. But Orion has protection. Shielding will be put to the test as the vehicle cuts through the waves of radiation. Sensors aboard will record radiation levels for scientists to study. We must solve these challenges before we send people through this region of space. For this flight, it's time to head home. The upper stage of the rocket triggers separation. Orion's jets fire to turn it into the proper position to re-enter Earth's atmosphere. No matter what happens now, we're coming in. 75 miles above Earth, the spacecraft enters the atmosphere. Things happen quickly. We're now traveling more than 20,000 miles per hour. Air particles pushed out of the way heat up. An envelope of hot plasma
Hey,
surrounds
Shuni.
the
Hey,
vehicle
Brian.
as it plummets towards Earth.
Hey,
Plasma
Dazer.
reaches temperatures of
Hey,
4,000
Jason.
degrees Fahrenheit, almost twice as hot as molten lava. This may be the most
Yeah,
dangerous part
YouTube's
of the
being
flight.
effy today.
Mission Control is monitoring all the
Iffy
data
today.
from the spacecraft, and then we lose communication again. No data can penetrate the plasma. Orion is on its own. Orion is inside a fireball. Onboard systems ignite jets to keep the ship pointed correctly, so the specially constructed heat shield takes the full brunt of the inferno. This is the largest heat shield of its kind ever made. Orion's computers command the spacecraft to bank like an airplane, keeping a precise path to the landing site. Even though we've slowed from 20,000 miles per hour to about 300 miles per hour, we're still traveling amazingly fast. We must slow down to safely land in the ocean. Luckily, we have parachutes.
Ooh, parachutes.
Specially designed for Orion, the parachutes help us hit the brakes, but not too quickly. One day people will be aboard, so deceleration must happen in stages to keep things comfortable for the crew.
You would think,
The forward bay
mighty.
cover jettisons. 2 drogue chutes deploy and slow the returning spacecraft down to 175 miles per hour.
Isn't that just beautiful?
Then, the 3 main parachutes open. Once fully engaged, this canopy would cover an American football field.
Holy moly.
It takes parachutes this size and strength to slow our descent to 20 miles per hour, and then splashdown. For this first flight, we won't have astronauts inside, but we still have some very precious cargo. The flight data from this mission is stored inside the Orion spacecraft. While our flight might be over, there is still a lot of work to do. Onboard sensors recorded every detail, from launch to flying in space, to re-entry to landing.
Hey,
Flight
Ghost Free
tests are
Anonymous.
difficult and complex, but they give us confidence
Hey,
that the
Digger.
systems we have designed work under real flight conditions. It's great to be a part of this first space flight for Orion, and we're looking forward to beginning a new chapter in human space exploration.
It's a new era of pioneers, star sailors, thinkers, and adventurers.
3, 2, 1, 0. All engine
This is
running.
pretty cool.
Let's go.
We have been given the scientific knowledge, the technical ability, and the material to pursue the exploration of the universe.
Nice. No subscription required? Even better. Hey, Daisy Girl. Mighty, you'll be right back. I don't know if this is copywritten music, so I'm just going to talk over it. Okay, that's good. No more. And folks, we are about 5 minutes away. From the hatch opening and the ingress. I wish I knew more about space. But we did see the docking earlier. If you haven't seen that, go check it out. It was a complete success. And now we are just waiting on them to show the welcoming remarks and how it went. It is big and black, and that is space and cold. We're just gonna jam out to this music, waiting for them to start. If you haven't already smashed that like button, do so. Make sure you're switched from top chat to all chat. Hey, Cool Frog. Hey, Jacob. Aw, Brian. It's okay, Brian. Just go to Target, get a few things, and be back. You'll be fine.
And Mighty will be back shortly. We are just currently waiting on this to start. So you got me, folks. You got me. Jacob, I'm not going to bring that up. Afternoon, AP. Like I said, Mighty will be back. It's just me for now. Wish it could be more interesting, but we are waiting on the hatch opening and the welcome remarks.
Good afternoon and good evening from
And here
Mission
we go,
Control in
folks.
Houston and the International Space Station Flight Control Room here at the Johnson Space Center. At this hour, a shift handover is in progress as the Orbit 3 team is coming on console to take over the rest of the crew's workday on board the International Space Station and to prepare for the opening of the hatch between the Soyuz MS-24 spacecraft and the Rassvet module of the International Space Station. Several hours ago, in fact, 5 hours and 1 minute ago, the 70S crew, the Soyuz MS-24 crew of Loral O'Hara, Oleg, Kononenko and Nikolai Chub lifted off from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan on their Soyuz 2.1A booster. They reached orbit less than 9 minutes later, deployed their solar arrays and navigational antennas, and then embarked on 3 hours and 9 minutes of transit for a docking to the Rassvet module that occurred at 1:53 p.m. Central Time, 2:53 p.m. Eastern Time. Here in Mission Control, again, the Orbit 3 team is coming on console. The Orbit 2 team that was here overseeing the launch and docking phase of today's activities has been led by Chris Dobbins, the flight director. Zeb Scoville is coming on console to take over the Orbit 3 team, which will take care of the hatch opening, a mandatory and routine ISS safety briefing for the newly arrived trio of crew members on the International Space Station.
Guys.
And then we'll begin to preside over the crew moving into its pre-sleep period and a sleep period that will extend into Saturday morning. Across the ocean at the Russian Mission Control Center in the town of Korolyov outside of Moscow, Russian flight controllers are working to coordinate the final series of leak checks at the docking interface between the Soyuz spacecraft and the Rassvet module. Those leak checks got underway about 2 hours ago as the three crew members who arrived at the station, Loral O'Hara, Oleg Kononenko, and Nikolai Chub, took off their Sokol launch and entry suits to allow them to dry out following their ride to orbit and their 3-hour transit to the International Space Station. They have now changed into more comfortable flight clothing and are conducting their leak checks.
Always better change into more
the technical
comfortable flight
specialists
clothing.
are waiting for the pressure to be equalized on both sides of the docking interface before the vestibule, the small passageway between the Soyuz hatch and the Rassvet module, can be equalized and pressurized to enable the hatches to swing open. We expect that hatch opening to take place at about 4:10 p.m. Central Time, 5:10 p.m. Eastern Time. The Soyuz hatch First, the Rassvet hatch will be opened, then the Soyuz hatch. The 3 crew members will float inside, move into the Zvezda service module, put on headsets, and accept congratulatory comments and remarks from spacecraft communicator Jessica Meir here in Mission Control in Houston, and Russian officials that are gathered on the balcony of the Russian Control Center in Korolyov. You see that balcony shot there. So we are expecting those congratulatory remarks, essentially a welcoming ceremony, if you will, somewhere in the neighborhood of 4:30 p.m. Central Time, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Again, the 3 crew members who launched and docked to the space station today, Loral O'Hara of NASA on your left, Oleg Kononenko, the Soyuz commander, in the center, and Nikolai Chub, first-time flyer from Roscosmos on your right. This was O'Hara's first flight into space, as it was for Chub. For Kononenko, his 5th flight into space. Kononenko and Chub are embarking on a 1-year mission aboard the International Space Station that will result in Kononenko coming home a year from now with almost, or in the neighborhood of about 1,100 days in space, far outstripping Gennady Padalka of the mantle of most time in space by a human being that he has held for a number of years. Kononenko, in surpassing 1,000 days in space and approaching the neighborhood of about 1,100 days in space, will have more than 200 days in space, more than Gennady Padalka when he comes home with Chub on Soyuz MS-25. That will take place next September. O'Hara will spend 6 months on the International Space Station. She will come home on the Soyuz MS-24 spacecraft with Oleg Novitsky and Belarus researcher Marina Vasilevskaya, who will be launching next spring along with NASA's Tracy Dyson on a taxi flight to bring the new MS-25 spacecraft up to the station. So O'Hara will come home on the same spacecraft that she launched on, except with different crewmates.
I will send it at 23:51. Yes, set it for 1 minute after.
There's got to be a lot of trust there.
As mentioned a moment or two ago, the flight of O'Hara, Kononenko, and Chub began 5 hours, 6 minutes ago at 10:44 and 35 seconds a.m. Central Time, 8:44 p.m. at the launch site of the Baikonur Cosmodrome, as
I agree, AP.
the Soyuz 2.18 came to life.
Hey, Dance Biker
Engine
Dance.
start was perfect. The turbo pumps came up to flight speed.
Probably should
And
have brought that
liftoff
one
occurred
up.
right on the money, with the Soyuz lifting off and arcing out to the northeast over the Central
It was
Asian
only for a
desert.
second, though.
About 1 minute and 10 seconds after launch, the Soyuz rocket passed through the period of maximum dynamic pressure, going supersonic at that point. 1 minute 58 seconds after launch, the first stage engines shut down, and the solid strap-on boosters were separated from the rest of the vehicle. The second stage engines continued to drive the Soyuz spacecraft uphill. They shut down at about the 4 minute 58 second mark. The third stage engines continued the job as the Soyuz continued its trek uphill into its preliminary orbit. 8 minutes and 45 seconds after launch, the third stage engines shut down. Soyuz spacecraft separated from the third stage, deployed its solar arrays and navigational antennas, and the Soyuz began the chase to catch up to the International Space Station.
Station Moscow on space to ground 2.
And if you're just joining us, Mighty is running an errand, so you have me for now. But when he gets back, he will be able to explain what's going on
All
here.
of the rendezvous maneuvers and thruster firings from the Soyuz were executed in flawless fashion, and the Soyuz approached the neighborhood of the International Space Station about 3 hours after launch. In this view of the Soyuz from external cameras on the International Space Station, it was a totally automated approach. All of the Soyuz systems operated in excellent shape, and the final phase of the rendezvous following a fly-around of the Soyuz was conducted with no issues whatsoever. The final approach command was given, and the Soyuz slowly but surely closed the gap between itself and the station, finally docking to the Rassvet module at a speed of about 1/10 of a meter per second. with the docking occurring over Ukraine, south of Kyiv, at 1:53 p.m. Central Time,
Isn't it Kiev?
2:53 p.m. Eastern Time.
And
This replay shows the final approach and the final few feet
Maybe it's
before
Kiev. I don't
docking,
know.
with contact and capture occurring as planned. That was followed by the docking probe being retracted to pull the two docking surfaces flush against one another, allowing hooks to close on both sides of the docking interface to form a hard mate.
Jacob, I cannot do that.
On your go, when you're ready.
That's the one in Hungary, dog mama. Oh, okay. So it's Kyiv.
Hold on a minute. I can't.
So again, the launch and docking went as smooth as can be expected. No issues whatsoever. One of the smoothest
No, I don't.
crew launches for a Soyuz vehicle in recent memory, with no technical issues having had to be worked by the Soyuz crew, and no issues on final approach and docking.
Well, Dance, I thought they said this was
a
in
3-hour,
Russia.
9-minute trip for Kononenko, Chub,
Yeah,
and
this is
Loral
Russia.
O'Hara.
So why is it
very bottom?
The leak
Kyiv
checks
and
are
not
continuing,
Kiev?
the pressure checks at the docking interface, as the crews on both sides of the docking interface, Dmitry Petelin on the Rassvet side, the station side of the docking interface, and Kononenko and Chub on the Soyuz side, are in the process of checking out their vehicle systems, making sure that we have the correct pressure equalization to enable the hatch to open and allow the three new arrivals to board the International Space Station. There is a view of the newly arrived Soyuz vehicle docked to the Rassvet module with the Northrop Grumman Cygnus spacecraft on the right of your screen, and on the left of your screen is the Nyoka multipurpose laboratory module. And just out of the field of view atop the Prishal module, the node module docking port, is the Soyuz MS-23 vehicle that will be the ride home in 12 days on September 27th for the station commander, Sergei Prokopyev, Dmitry Petelin, and NASA's Frank Rubio, who are wrapping up a 371-day mission aboard the International Space Station, which for Rubio sets a record for the longest single spaceflight by an American astronaut in history.
Yes, you need to take note of it. And by 1 second. There will be 7 items. Can you take note so I can take it from you?
And there's a view inside the Rassvet module at the hatchway to the Soyuz MS-24 spacecraft. On the other side of that hatch is the Soyuz. Dmitry Petelin will soon begin the procedures to open up that hatch.
I don't feel comfortable doing that.
Kononenko opening up the hatch on his side of the docking interface to the Soyuz itself. Again, the crew, the 3 crew members who just arrived at the station will float inside. There'll be, I'm sure, hugs and handshakes between themselves and the current 7 crew members on board the station, the Expedition 69 crew, Sergei Prokopyev, Dmitry Petelin, Konstantin Borisov, Jasmine Mogbelli, and Frank Rubio, and Satoshi Furukawa, the JAXA astronaut, and Andy Mogensen, the European Space Agency astronaut. That's your 7 crew members on board the station at the moment, soon to expand to a crew of 10 with the opening of the hatch to the Soyuz spacecraft that's expected in the next few minutes or so.
Yes, I am. Thank you very much.
Item 4.5, do not perform. Item 4.5 is no execute.
I don't know.
Item 4.5, we will not execute.
We'll just go with what they say. There already was, Dance.
Execute the purification cartridge swap in the ESA for item 4.3. Purification cartridge in the ESA, page 35. Item 4.3. Okay, item
Okay.
4.3. File 1. Swap for path 3. I got it. Okay, next is item 4. A transfer
like
from
we are opening
MRM1
up.
to the BO of Soyuz 755.
And we are open.
From MRM1 to BO. What should I?
And at
What should I
3:59 p.m.
transfer?
Central Time, 4:59 p.m. Eastern Time, the station hatch, the Rassvet module hatch on the side of the docking interface is now open.
Barcode number.
Dmitry Petelin,
00
Sergei Prokopiev are
710
working the procedures now
8881.
to make sure that everything is in
One
order
more
on their
time,
side of the
Anton.
docking interface,
From
while
MRM1
the Soyuz crew, that's Konstantin
Soyuz
Borisov
BO.
now
It's
on the
fine,
right,
Mighty. I'm just
to make sure
letting
that
them talk.
everything
I
is
got it.
in
You want
order
me
to allow
transfer
Kononenko, Chub, and
I got it.
O'Hara to open up the Soyuz hatch so that they can float
000
inside.
710. Okay, 000
Let them float inside. Come on, let's see that.
71081R. 1R. So 000 710
Sergei Prokopiev in the field of view, the station commander,
Okay, I confirm.
wrapping up, along with Frank Rubio and Dmitry Petelin, a 371-day mission. He'll be handing over station command to Andy Mogensen of the European Space Agency in a change of command ceremony on September 26th, on the eve of the departure of Rubio, Prokopiev, and Petelin.
Same one, or is it a little bit earlier? Same one from
And we're going to have our
BO. Okay, I'll put. I marked it by number 19 speaking simultaneously.
And a great view there of the newly arrived Soyuz MS-24 that functioned
I think
perfectly
it's upside down.
during its ride to the International Space Station,
Got it.
well, just
launching 5 hours and 16 minutes ago from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan.
and CSS is going to be at 2132.
So TTK 754 hands them over for drive.
Just don't be afraid, guys. Don't freak out. I'm going to see you on the screens first.
Oh, that's not something I'd want to hear.
Okay, I got it. Wrote it down. Item 5. Hand over species number 3 to Fred Ryan in the
Don't
Soyuz
freak out.
754. In the BO. Set up block number 2.
We got a thumbs up.
It's located number 1. Set it up in the BO of Soyuz vehicle 755. In the BO of
The station crew will be testing out some communications gear here in a few minutes to be used for the welcoming remarks that are planned inside the Zvezda service module once the 3 new crew members for Expedition 69 board the vehicle a short time from now. Expedition 69 will come to an end, and Expedition 70 will begin officially with the undocking of Prokopiev, Petelin, and Rubio in the wee hours of September 27th.
So I'm going to open KKT. Yes, so I'm, okay, KKT open. I'm opening KVD. KVD is open.
The International Space Station is currently flying 260 miles over the heart of Australia, moving from northwest to southeast in an orbit inclined 51.6 degrees to either side of the equator.
04 and decreasing. Copy.
Take air dance.
Current pressure is 800. Copy.
So what they're doing right now is equalizing pressures, taking pressure readings to make sure that there's not major shock from them leaving their capsule into the ISS.
Station Moscow on Space Ground 2. Guys, just an FYI, you are on the large screen and everybody can see you right now.
Something Johnson Space Center.
That's what I heard.
4.6 was the pressure on board the station. Yes, in the pressure in the orbital compartment is 746. Current pressure is 790.
Screw you, Bobby.
It's because I was here.
Oh, that happens. I see
Yeah.
that. Yeah, it was indeed in Kazakhstan. That's where the Baikonur Cosmodrome is. So it's Russian spacecraft, but it launches from Kazakhstan. It's just former Soviet Union.
And is it Kyiv or is it Kiev?
Compartment.
They'll probably hate it either way you say it.
Okay.
Because it's
So
chat.
when I'm
But
going to
I say Kiev.
Well, on
when I'm
screen they
going
said
to
Kyiv.
perform all the previous steps, I'll complete those. You need to deactivate all
One of those
comms,
banana
assets, turn
apple,
off the
or
temperature
what's the one that
purification
Hazard hates?
unit in the
Tomato,
door.
tomato?
Oh, the guys are going to be waiting
No,
for me.
Hazard hates
780
Yorkshire?
is the current pressure.
Yorkshire? I don't know.
Copy.
Oh, that one.
780.
Yes.
Aussie
Yorkshire
hates
versus
Queensland.
Yorkshire.
Yep.
Yeah.
iPad charge status is 25%.
Oh, better hook it up to your charger there.
Yeah.
775.
That can't be good. Plug it in, plug it in.
So now we're just waiting for those final checkouts. They'll slowly start making their way out. It is a very tight fit, so they have to
Be skinny.
squeeze out. Yep.
770.
And they're in spacesuits, so
Oh. Well, they
Extra
changed it to
debris.
something
This is
comfortable.
Mission Control Houston. Once again, we're in the final phase of the leak
Oh,
checks,
did they already?
pressure checks
Yeah, that's what
on
they
the
said earlier.
Soyuz side of the docking interface at
Okay.
the Rassvet module of the International Space Station. A good view right there of the Soyuz MS-23 spacecraft or 24 spacecraft, I should say, that arrived at the station with docking at 1:53 p.m. Central Time, 2:53 p.m. Eastern.
I wasn't sure if they'd have time since it was such a quick turn, but
765. 765.
Dazzler Mighty said it.
when he said what? It's Yorkshire.
It's Yorkshire.
Yorkshire. Like Queensland.
The station hatch, as you can see there on the interface with the Soyuz, was opened about 7 or 8 minutes ago. But the key will be the opening of the Soyuz hatch, which we're expecting soon, as Kononenko, Chub,
760.
and O'Hara complete the leak checks and the pressure equalization on their side of the
760.
docking interface.
Ah, put some
So the
shoes
question has to
on.
be, yeah. It's like one of those assholes that fly without wearing shoes.
Yeah.
Welcoming remarks by the newly arrived crew and congratulatory remarks from spacecraft communicator Jessica Meir here in Mission Control and Russian officials gathered at the Russian Mission Control Center in Korolyov are expected around the bottom of the hour.
So we have to take into account. So if we're going to make this commercial, so you or I could foreseeably buy a ticket, get on a spacecraft, and go to a destination in space. Well, we have to cut down on this kind of time, because can you imagine passengers on a spacecraft that are just sitting there, just waiting
No.
for hours? Right. It's just not going to happen. People are too damn impatient.
755.
You can do it when it's
leak
controlled.
checks and pressure measurements
people.
still being taken on the Soyuz side of the docking interface. Again, the Soyuz crew launched at 10:44 a.m. Central Time this morning from the Baikonur Cosmodrome. They launched into a express lane fast track 2-orbit rendezvous profile that enabled them to dock 3 hours and 9 minutes after launch at 1:53 p.m. Central Time, 2:53 p.m. Eastern Time.
What are we, 6.5, 7 hours from launch? That's not bad, though.
753.
And this view now shows the complement of vehicles on the Earth-facing side of the station. At the far left, docked to the Prishal module, is the Soyuz MS-23 spacecraft that was launched unpiloted in February to replace the vehicle that Frank Rubio, Dmitry Petelin, and Sergei Prokopyev launched on a year ago, that experienced a coolant leak back in December and came home in February unpiloted. The Soyuz MS-23 that is docked on the far left side of your station will be the ride home for Rubio, Prokopyev, and Petelin on September 27th, when they undock from the Prishal module and land under their parachute on the steppe of Kazakhstan to complete 371 days in space, and for Rubio, of course, the longest single space flight in U.S. history. Back now at the Russian Mission Control Center, with a view from the balcony camera in Korolyov outside of Moscow, as we continue to wait for the pressure checks on board to be completed and to allow the Soyuz hatch to swing open and allow the 3 newly arrived crew members to float inside and join their crew members in the Zvezda service module for the welcoming remarks.
749.
They say that they hated each other and were in direct competition, but they have so many things that are very similar out of chance that we either had horrible spies embedded or
749.
they just decided that they were going to copy each other.
Nikolai, can you set a timer for 1 or 2 minutes?
That looks just like Johnson.
748.
We know a knobhead who welds without shoes, don't we? We do. I wouldn't call him a knobhead. Call him a spectacular human being.
Station Commander Sergei Prokopyev in the Rassvet module at the docking interface with the Soyuz spacecraft. The station hatch is open, now awaiting the opening of the Soyuz hatch.
Did Brian leave?
748.
Brian. Brian, can you hear me? Plus, Stazzer, I can't help it that I'm tougher than you. I can weld without shoes on. Or pants, for that matter.
Прошла минута 15. 1 minute 15 elapsed.
He's
Okay,
still
1
in
minute.
chat, but he's not in chat.
1 minute has gone by. Yes.
Who's he talking about?
Almost a minute and a half.
Brian.
Oh.
That was an exasperated. Huh.
Sigh?
Yeah.
Like, oh, come on, man.
Right.
Let's open his hatch.
2 minutes have elapsed. MCC Moscow. The pressure is stable over 2 minutes. Continue your steps. Open KKT, close KVD. KKT is closed. Item 8.1. Yes, I confirm.
I say funny stuff sometimes.
Sometimes you have good ones.
Opening. Opening.
Like, what's the password? Oh.
I have released it.
Oh.
Opening the hatch.
And the Soyuz hatch is now open.
Have you been waiting for us for so long? It can't be.
Golf clap, everyone. Golf clap.
Dr. Gable, just finish it in a minute. We're going to let the first timers in. Okay, hatch is open. We see the hatches open simultaneously. So should we translate in the station? Yes, go ahead.
The Soyuz hatch opened at 4:16 p.m. Central Time, 5:16 Eastern.
Close it, but leave it a little bit ajar and then complete all our steps. Just turn off the comm line simultaneously. Well, if
5.5 hours?
you translate there, I won't be able to hear you. So N2 and
From
4.
launch to hatch opening?
Hatch open. Yeah.
Wow.
So right now, let me set the cap. So then we're going to perform the atmosphere purification. Okay. Let us complete all the steps and then we'll go into the station. Setting the SU plug. Do you have it? Okay.
Hey, amazing.
Somebody break out the vodka.
The sewing handle.
With that webcam.
KSD, maybe KSD screwdriver here. Is the KSD plug here?
Sergei Prokopiev and Oleg Kononenko across the hatch to the Soyuz spacecraft, talking about the collection of tools to be brought inside. Again, the Soyuz hatch was opened at 4:16 p.m. Central, 5:16 p.m. Eastern Time.
Yeah, because they still got to unpack all the stuff. So
Damn.
So I copy that you have set
Why'd
in
they
the
pack
plug.
so much?
I am taking
Typical
out of the
women.
same container.
yeah, it was definitely the woman on the flight.
Yeah.
I'm taking
No,
the
they need all
cover
their
from
food
the
and
same container.
Yeah.
water, everything. You got to bring that stuff up with you. There is no McDonald's.
No.
A lot of freeze-dried crap, a lot of stuff in tubes.
I have pulled out the cover
Yeah.
and I am getting out the scrapping units for the bill. Copy.
Squatters moved
I
into
am
his
done.
dryer. I think your personal item pack, you can bring whatever you want. Some people bring candy, some people bring different drinks or, whatever, so on and so forth. But I think it's 40 pounds is the max you're allowed for
Wow.
your 1
This
year
is Mission
mission.
Control Houston. Once again, you're looking at Station Commander Sergei Prokopiev in the Rassvet module. Hatches between the station and the newly arrived Soyuz MS-24 now open. The Soyuz hatch opening at 4:16 p.m. Central, 5:16 p.m. Eastern Time. Some 5.5 hours or so following the Soyuz crew's launch from the Baikonur Cosmodrome.
Copy. I turned off the purification unit. I put in the plug. So we're going to turn off Fare 14, and then I'm going to go into the station. Okay, congratulations on successful docking and have a good flight. Thank you, Anton. Thank you. Okay, and I'm out. Okay, I'm out.
He's out.
Wait, you're out or they're out?
They're out.
Hmm.
F this shit, I'm out.
Once the newly arrived crew members come on board, they will move into the Zvezda service module for welcoming remarks. That'll be followed by a routine safety briefing that will be conducted by Prokopiev for the newly arrived crew members. That safety briefing basically points out routes and the various modules of the station that the crew can move around in, and what would be required in the unlikely event the crew members would have to evacuate the station on short notice. Later this evening, Oleg Kononenko and Nikolai Chub will complete the deactivation of station systems and Soyuz systems. Those Soyuz systems that will be in a caretaker state while the spacecraft is linked to the International Space Station will be deactivated later this evening. Loral O'Hara on board the International Space Station.
And her first visit to the ISS.
Followed by Nikolai Chub.
His first visit to the ISS. I think it's cool how they let the people that this is their first trip go first. That's pretty neat.
How do you keep your glasses on in space? Do they just stay
Oleg
on?
Kononenko following the two first-time flyers into the International Space
tight
Station.
enough on your, if they're
And the population of the station has now grown to 10.
Sometimes they use a band.
You're looking at Dmitry Petelin in the foreground, along with Frank Rubio on the left, Sergei Prokopyev in the back. Those three will begin a handover period with O'Hara, Chub, and Kononenko en route to their return to Earth on September 27th.
Uh-oh.
And with the crew members now on board the station, there's a view of the Soyuz MS-24 spacecraft docked to the Rassvet
Even though we all know you
module. The
lost
crew now on board the station.
Dick.
They will be moving into the Zvezda service module momentarily for welcoming remarks, followed by a safety briefing that will be conducted by Prokopyev to basically run down some of the emergency procedures that are typical and routine for a newly arrived crew. Later this evening, Kononenko and Chub will be deactivating the Soyuz systems to put the Soyuz on a caretaker state, if you will, on station power.
Maybe I'll go through and do like a tour and what each module is on the ISS at some point.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, because they have some really cool stuff on there, and it's neat. They have a mock-up at Johnson in Texas for training.
Is it for visitors to see?
No, nope.
Oh.
Just NASA.
Oh. Well, they could do a mock-up of a mock-up.
They could. So they had a training facility tour at Johnson Space Center.
Mm-hmm.
When I was down there with my Aussie. But it was relatively expensive, and we didn't have a ton of extra time for it.
Yeah.
Moscow station on space to ground 1. Go ahead on space to ground 1. Anton, so we have moved over to the service module, and we're turning on the equipment. So TV session will be on SHSS, and it's going to be in 6 minutes. First, we're going to do the comm check. And if the comm is stable, I'm going to hand you over to all the dignitaries. Sounds good.
God, I would take all that ride to space, and then I'd have to talk to Heels Up. And I'd be like, man, really? Because the American vice president is head of the space program. So
the American vice president?
And the crew now tenfold in the Zvezda service module.
Entire space program.
Expedition 69 in full tow as we await the comm checks and welcoming remarks by the crew.
Yeah, AP, you can't get me to buy that. There's
guys, we're seeing
never been
you on the MPEG
interaction between crewmates.
Oleg, Nikolai, Laurel, congratulations! You're looking so good.
Bro is up there for a year, and he didn't once do any carrot waxing. I'll buy it.
All right, guys, we've got 4 minutes So for the next 4 minutes, there will be no comm via mic, and we will not be able to hear you, just as an FYI.
So if you have any threats, now's the time. It's the only time NASA can't hear you.
So the crew, all 10 of them on board the Zvezda service module, following the opening of the hatch to the Soyuz spacecraft just a few minutes ago at 4:16 p.m. Central Time. We are awaiting the station passing in range of Russian ground stations here to enable the comm to sync up and get us going with the start of the welcoming remarks.
It's just so cool to have people that are actively living off-world for almost 25 years now. It's just, it's insane. It's
in
so
the back
neat.
row, from left to right, Andy Mogensen, Frank Rubio, Dmitry Patelin, Jasmine Mugbeli, and Satoshi Furukawa. Konstantin Borisov on the left in the front row, along with Nikolai Chub, Sergei Prokopiev, Oleg Kononenko, and in the far right in the front row, Loral O'Hara.
Oh, quit showing off. You don't have gravity.
Dude, I'd be spinning around like a crazy person already. Doing Superman poses.
Right.
Like, I ain't mad at them. They can do what they want.
And we're being advised that the comm should be linked up in about 2.5 minutes. The voice comm with the video that you're seeing. So we should be getting underway just about 2 minutes from now.
Helicopter in space. That wouldn't work.
Wait, is he talking about what I think he's talking about?
I don't know. Helicopter in space wouldn't work, though. Because it barely worked on Mars, and they had to make it go, I think it's 10 times the speed that it would on Earth. It's moving rapidly.
No, I think I think we're thinking something different.
I think is he talking like a flat Earth thing? Like a,
No, I don't
Oh.
think that's it.
Oh, I get it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd do that. I don't know if it'd be any different on Earth than on Earth, but helicopter.
Once again, we're standing by for the voice communications to sync up with the video that we're seeing. We should be getting underway here momentarily.
Ребят, буквально 2-минутная готовность.
Stand by for 2 more minutes.
In 2 minutes, we will start.
2 minutes, we will start. What's my man got there? He's got lunch? Look like it.
Yeah, he was drinking something.
So they're just waiting to be in comms range because they don't have as robust as a satellite system as our Starlink. So communication for them is more difficult, and they're trying to connect directly with dignitaries and leaders in Russia.
МКС ЦУП Москвы, канале 6С. Как меня слышно?
Station Moscow, GSS. How do you read me?
Nothing.
Ребят, как меня слышно? 6С?
Guys, how do you copy me on broadband communication system?
It's never a good sign. The first problem is it was Rassvet.
Сергей, видим, что ты пытаешься что-то сказать, но мы...
Sergey, you are trying to say something, but unfortunately there is no sound.
Got some now.
Well, they did.
Yeah.
Раз, два, три.
1, 2, 3, com check.
По ШСС.
Here, GSS, now we copy you loud and clear. How do you copy us?
Brian, are you going to be on time tonight? or-
Yes, we copy you loud and clear as well. Then, I'm giving the mic to the management. Guys, how do you copy? Vladimir Alexeyevich, hello. Once again, good evening. We copy you loud and clear. I'm so happy that you have reached the station. It's a wonderful, good-looking crew. So for those who are first-timers, my best wishes to you. Work, do whatever you need to do on the station, and everything will be fine, I'm sure.
Sure.
I'm sure. Not.
That's always
I'm
great to hear
giving the
from
mic to
Russians.
Dmitry
It would be
Kalashnikov.
fine.
I'm sure.
He
Putin
would like to
himself
say a few
says it'd be
words.
fine.
He is the main person who solves all the issues. So Dmitry will talk to you.
Спасибо, Владимир Алексеевич.
Thank you, Vladimir Alexeyevich, so much for your kind words. So now you have added crew. So all the control team is happy that you are on board the station. And we wish you all the very best, very efficient work on the station. And those who are to prepare for the landing, we are expecting you on the ground very soon. We are ready, actually, we are ready long ago. Yes, we know that.
I want to come
Dmitry
home.
Alexeyevich, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Once again, my congratulations. Good luck to you all. And all the very best from all of us.
Спасибо большое. Ну, может быть, пару слов.
Thank you. Maybe Nikolai will say a few words.
Хотелось бы поприветствовать
I would like
главную оперативную
to
группу.
greet all the ground control team.
Знакомы, работали в сменах.
I knew many of those people who are on console. I worked with them on shift. So thank you so much. Our thanks from space now to you.
I could hit space mic.
Николай, вы знаете нашу работу изнутри,
Nikolai, you know our work from inside out, so to say. I think we will have full cooperation with you while you're on board.
Еще раз спасибо.
Thank you so much for everything from Loral.
передаем трубочку нашим гостям.
Okay, now our guests here will talk to you.
So all the Russians are
Your friends
military
and family
guys.
members.
All the Russian cosmonauts. I wonder if they try and bait anything out of them as far as like secrets and stuff while they're up there.
Laurel and
interesting.
Nikolai, enjoy settling into your new home.
I mean,
And
why
Oleg,
wouldn't you
welcome
take
back
that
once again.
opportunity
Hello,
if you
I
could?
can see. I'm
you know?
happy to
I
see.
mean, yeah.
Всем привет. I'm so excited to follow along with your mission.
Greetings to everyone.
Congratulations to the entire ISS crew and to all of the ground teams around the world that enabled this extraordinary event.
You know, the United
Congratulations.
States doesn't respect anybody's, you know,
Mm-hmm.
it's supposed to be peaceful exploration, but
Yeah.
the United States doesn't.
Спасибо большое. Thanks a lot.
Is the lady Russian? Not Russian?
Я понял, просто был
Snafu?
No.
вижу.
Both,
Yes, hello.
I believe
There
both
was
the
some
women are American,
English conversation.
but you have to speak
Everything
Russian
is fine. I can see
as
you.
an astronaut on
Я вас
the
только вижу справа,
ISS
с правой стороны.
I can
to
see
go.
you on the right there.
Because some of the service modules and manuals and stuff are written
We
in
are
Russian.
happy for everyone.
Ah.
Yep.
Congratulations, everyone, with your arrival on board the station. And of course, we wish the crew who is preparing to go back to the ground, we wish you all the very best and very successful return.
Спасибо большое, да, мы скоро их проводим, они уже...
Thank you so
When are
much.
they
Yes, we will see them off very soon. They are ready.
When are what?
When are
Thank
they
you.
returning? The other ones returning?
We are going to be
Ребят, мы вот сейчас
returning in about 2 weeks.
Guys,
Okay.
MCC Houston will talk to you from now
I
on.
mentioned
are
something about that earlier.
Yeah. 3 are returning in about 5.5 months, and then the last 4
Да, хорошо, мы ждем тогда.
believe
Не
are all a
расходимся.
year.
We are standing by. Then
So,
we are
They're
still
staggered
here.
at this point because of the
Хорошо.
coolant issue
Маша.
with one
Yeah,
of
we can
the
see people are waving us.
Okay.
one of the
All of Houston
modules.
is
So they're
wishing you a very
some of them
pleasant
are
evening.
staying
Pretty exciting.
longer
with
than they
sea turtles up there
anticipated.
now. It's a veil once
Oh.
again. So enjoy your overlap and have an incredible time up there with your crew. Enjoy your overlap and have an incredible time up there with your crew. We're loving seeing all those smiles up there. We're loving seeing all those smiles up there.
Yeah, thank you. It's incredible to be here. It was a beautiful launch. It was a beautiful flight. The only thing better than seeing the Earth for the first time and seeing Space Station for the first time was coming through the hatch and seeing all these guys here. So thank you.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
Say hello.
Say hello.
Hey, Jessica, thanks so much. And it is absolutely awesome to have all these turtles up here. Thank you to the NASA team and the Roscosmos team
Did you
for
say turtles?
getting Soyuz 70 up here with
Yeah, I
us.
wonder
And
if
we look
there's,
forward to spending the next week showing them around. And we know they're going to have a fantastic mission.
I wonder if there's a turtle experiment or something like that.
Like
turtles
in the visitors room watching as
Could
well
be.
and sending all their support and love. Have a great evening, guys.
Hey, Alex.
Thank you so much.
Hey, what's up, Alex?
Ребят, все, на этом у нас репортаж закончился. Огромное спасибо.
Guys, we completed our coverage. Please
Огромные молодцы.
Yeah, space sea turtles.
Счастливы и довольны.
put all the assets to initial condition.
That's awesome.
And we can see that you're happy. And thank you so much and goodbye.
Yeah, I mean that's initially or ideally what the Starship.
This is Mission Control Houston. You just heard some of the welcome.
Okay, we could be done with that because they're just gonna. That's essentially what Starship is supposed to be. It's supposed to be fully reusable craft that can go up take astronauts and then return very quickly, almost like a ferry service, and eventually maybe even one a day or one every other day. So it'll be a regular service that will be much more fluid. There needs to be a ton more infrastructure. You wouldn't bring average people to the space station because of the sensitive nature of some of the experiments and the equipment, and there's just not room for tourists to come hang out. So you'd have to change multiple different things, but yeah, that's the idea. That's the idea behind next gen vehicles like Starship, is to be able to do that quickly, turn it around very quickly, and bring passengers. So
Interesting.
that's later. Yeah, Starship up to 100 actually is their most recent update. Because he made it a little bit bigger, so up to 100 people in a ship at one time. Well, you're finally late. Are you gonna be on time tonight, brother, or are we starting a little bit later? I'm good either way. I just why you're here. Or don't answer me.
He said on time. It's just slow.
On time. Oh, okay. Fantastic. All right. Well, you heard it here first. Brian is going to be on time tonight. I don't buy it, but we'll see. So with that being said, I am going to jump off here and get some stuff done. Probably take a nap, to be honest, before I do stream tonight. So that was the whole process. That was launch to docking to getting on the space station all in one day. So pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Jacob says, I doubt it.
I doubt it too. So I really thank everybody for joining me for it. It was awesome. It was awesome to see it all and be able to cover it all start to finish. When we get a return, we will certainly cover it because Soyuz land pretty cool. But yeah, that's gonna be it for me. Dog Mama, thank you for covering for me for a little bit.
You're welcome.
Apologize.
No
it took
problem.
super long. Fucking construction.
No, that's fine.
Hate construction.
Me too.
No, less than. Over under of 10 minutes late. I would take the under because we're going to be on time tonight.
Okay.
Just because you guys are giving me shit, we'll be on time. I'll start without Bri if I have to. But all right, y'all. Well, thank you so much for joining me. And thank you, Dog Mama, for taking over for me for a little bit.
You're welcome.
And I will see everybody at 8:30 Eastern to build some Legos and hang out with my boy, Brian. Have a good night, everybody, and we'll see you soon.
See you later.